All right, Matt Blackburn for Management 5113 Org Behavior. So today I have Captain Elliot Besky. Elliot is a MAJCOM budget analyst for Air Force Special Operations Command. His primary duty is managing the budget for a few wings in the Air Force, and basically sends money down to the bases. So I'll let him go in a little deeper. All right, Elliot. Could you please describe your job and the type of people you manage and or lead? If you want to do a little introduction as well, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm Elliot. Nice to talk to you. Pleasure. Thanks for inviting me to do this. So my job basically is I distribute funds that we get from Congress and other MAJCOMs, which is kind of like a big organization within the Air Force or DoD. And I'll kind of validate requirements, talk about where the benefit those are to each wing, and then kind of distribute those funds and be the go-between between different locations out at Korea, Japan, Europe, and kind of all over the continental US. And the type, or what was the second question? The type of people I lead?
Type of people you manage and or lead.
Okay, so I would say I have like a team about 5 or 6 any given time, and kind of right now during COVID, it's been more of the telework environment, but kind of just coordinating with them on their needs and directing them on what my bosses need as far as commander decisions, and kind of coordinate that with just the hierarchy flow level type of thing.
So you would say that the type of people that you manage is more of is like bases and in that regard. So not actual. So you have your small team of people, but you also deal with the other bases, wings in the Air Force that communicates to you.
Right. Yeah. So I have a small team that I'm kind of in charge of, and then I'm kind of in charge of that day-to-day operations, and then my out units are people who I'm not like directly in charge with, but kind of the go-between. If I need something, they're my point of contact and like touch points and that type of thing.
Our next question: describe your management and or leadership style.
My management style, I want people to definitely be self-starters. I want them to be self-sufficient. And it's kind of, I'll give them a lot of leeway to get their job done and kind of do what they need to do, as long as they're getting that job done. So I wouldn't say like I'm hands off, but it's kind of, I have put a lot of trust in my people until they prove me wrong, and then I'll either coach them through, trying to get them to where they need to be, if it's more hands-on or they need that more one-to-one interaction. But as far as in the work environment, my leadership or management style is definitely, I want people to kind of take that job and make it their own, and just make it their own career, because it is their own life, that I want them to be what they want to be in their career. And if they're not hacking it, then I'll let them know, kind of take them back to that and get them on the right track. What was that second part of the question? Just management leadership.
Yeah, just describe the management leadership style. But a follow-up question to that is, so you would say you're not a micromanager?
No, definitely not a micromanager. If I need to be, there's definitely some personalities out there that you kind of have to develop that relationship first, and you have to kind of get to know them on a personal level, and whether that's at home, work-life balance, all that type of thing. And then once you kind of understand how they tick, definitely you can see how they need to be managed. But I mean, as far as I want to show them that I do the same thing too. So it's definitely lead by example. Show them I know how to do that work. Show them I know what they're doing, and kind of it's definitely a team aspect, and they can come to me whenever they need that type of help. So
how do you maintain this style while your team is working remotely?
So that's definitely been a challenge. Coming from my last unit, we weren't teleworking very at all, really. So walking into this environment, it's been a lot of navigating those waters and kind of figuring it out as I go. The best thing I've seen, especially with the team leads and the ones I normally deal with, definitely that phone call and not email. Email is good to like say, hey, FYI, this is what you need to know type thing, but definitely that weekly or every other day interaction of, hey, what's on your list? What are you working on? Do you need any help? Just those three key things, and then also talking to them about just what's going on inside their lives, because it's a challenging time right now. But I mean, outside of COVID, basically the same thing, but there's just a lot more face-to-face interaction and a lot more getting together outside the office and stuff like that.
How successful do you think your work-life balance is?
My work-life balance, I think, is pretty good. I definitely try to leave work at work and life at life. So I don't know if that's the right terms for that, but not wasting time at work, making sure no one else is wasting time at work, getting the right stuff done. And I mean, sometimes you just kind of need to take a break, because at least within my career field and my job, the work is always going to be there the next day, unless we're trying to meet like a big timeline, something from Congress that's popping down that we need to answer right away. But other than that, I mean, you kind of gotta save some time for yourself so that people aren't burnt out, because I've definitely seen that where a lot of people get burnt out quick and then they just can't wait to get out and do other things, when the job, we really need them long term and not short term for the 2 years that they're at this assignment type thing.
How do you manage stress among your team members?
That's definitely an individual case by case basis. I mean, I'm gonna go back to, like, you got to get to know your people, because everyone's different. I could have someone who I can give 30 tasks to and then he'll knock them out, or there's the next person, which it may not be fair, that I give 2 tasks to and then they feel like they're drowning. So it's definitely coaching them through, saying like, hey, we got to get this done. I'll help you out where I can, but definitely just trying to mitigate it and talk to them. It's hard to pull tasks off of people and just give them to somebody else. I don't like doing that, but sometimes you just got to take your strong workers and put more on them, and then, I mean, they'll get rewarded in the end, and it's who we promote, it's who we give awards to, so it kind of balances out, but that's how I figure that out.
How do you motivate people?
Motivate. I'm gonna, case by case basis, go back to them. But I've found that a lot of people aren't motivated. There's some that are motivated by awards, stuff like that. The intrinsic value that a lot of workers, I mean, if you can find that intrinsic value that they want to do the mission, especially like related to the military, if they can find some meaning behind the mission that they're doing and the actions on what they do with the money, funding, pushing numbers, all that kind of stuff kind of affects that downrange operator. So the work that they do really kind of benefits that. But I mean, if they can't find that value, then it's kind of tough. But I mean, a big thing that I've seen is you got to give your people time, and because what I've noticed is the most valuable thing that people can have is their time back. So whether that's getting out 30 minutes early, getting stuff they need to do, I feel that's a big motivator, at least within today's military, and maybe it's a generational thing, but I've noticed it pretty much across the board.
Cool. What is the most challenging thing about being a manager, and how do you overcome it?
The most challenging thing, I would say, are the things that nobody, like in all your management classes and all your time going through leadership discussions and all that, kind of the issues that never get brought up, and that is, I don't know, like deaths in the family, for the people you're leading, any type of life-changing event, or just people that mess up either within their job or personal life, and you have to deal with that. It kind of doesn't prepare you for it. Me being on the younger side, I've had to manage like 50 and 60 and 70-year-olds, and then kind of that, just them fighting within the office over something so simple as like a popcorn smell. You have to like ring them back in and say, hey guys, you're adults, can we figure this out, instead of yelling at each other in the office.
What about the younger generation?
The younger generation, I would say getting them to focus on the task at hand. I don't want to like blame cell phones or anything, but it's easy to draw their attention away, and I guess I'll leave it at that. But I mean, there's just some people that are great at it, and there's some people that are not.
Yep.
So,
Okay. How do you overcome that?
like my challenges,
Yep.
like all across the board.
Yep.
I would say just jump in like feet first into it. Don't be afraid of it, because especially your workers are gonna fail, and then you are also gonna fail. So noticing when you're wrong and when you need to course correct on a certain issue, whether it's talking with your peers, talking with your other senior leaders and saying, hey, this is how I'm handling this situation, and just kind of owning it in a sense.
We'll do the last question here. What advice would you give to someone going into a leadership position for the first time?
So the first time, I would just say don't be afraid. I mean, it's going to be challenging walking into a new office with new people, and kind of figuring out those personalities. Don't come in like you know everything. Don't come in like you're hot stuff. Just kind of show you care, you're vulnerable, and that you're willing to do whatever you can for them as their manager or leader or whatever.
Cool. All right, thanks.